Be live. Oh, no, here we go. Okay, now we're live. Hey, everybody, it's Rob and Joy with Shift Happens, the AI podcast. How are you all today? How are you, Joy?
Great. No complaints. Ready for the snowstorm.
Oh, yes, the great snowstorm of March 13th, 2024, where we may get 0 inches, we may get 22. I heard somebody say a monument is projected for possibly 22 inches of snow. That's a lot of snow.
Crazy. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see what actually happens.
that's how it always goes, right? I saw a meme this morning that said somebody squinting out the window and it said, just checking to see what the weather is this hour. Uh, Good stuff. So we're here to talk about. So this shift happens is our AI podcast. Once a week we come and we talk about the shift that is happening, the seismic shift that is happening that AI represents and the fielding of AI represents, and we unpack what this means for your business specifically, and we want you to walk away from each one of these episodes with an actual actionable action. Uh,
Yeah.
what can you do today to implement this in your systems in your business? So, what's our topic for today?
Well, today we're going to tackle the objection of what if I don't have time or I don't have time to learn AI and incorporate that AI into our business.
What if we don't have time? Okay, I think we can hit this from a couple different angles. There's the AI specific angle, but then there's the business angle of time management itself. Uh, what do you think about when somebody when they say I don't have time?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of funny that this is the topic this week because I've been thinking, like we spend so much time on AI. It's just part of our daily business operation. But if you start cold and you have to learn something new, you're like, I don't have time to do that. I don't even know where to start. I don't. I have so many things to shuffle, but if they put in a little bit of effort, there's such a big payoff. And what's great about AI is it doesn't matter what asset or facet of your business to incorporate AI because you'll get a time savings in any area: operations, efficiency, marketing, any area of your business. AI can save you time.
I would say it could even make you time. And so, yeah, agreed. And so I would step even further back. Let's see. I'll go back personally to December of. Let me see. Where are we in? We're in 2024. So December of 2022. I December, October, December, that time frame. I was at max capacity in terms of I had owned a computer store, an electronic repair store that was also a T-Mobile store, and firing on all cylinders, not necessarily effectively, but firing on all cylinders, juggling employees and real estate and tech and moment to moment, I'd find myself in repairing a laptop. Uh, Jumping over to an iPhone that I needed to repair, then implementing systems and managing the 411 and talking to people about real estate too, while juggling employment and things of that nature. And for example, I was not exercising. I was the heaviest I'd ever been, but I didn't know that again for 4 more months. I felt it, but I didn't. I kept telling myself, and where I'm going with this is, I kept telling myself, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time to take care of myself. And I also, the way I was physically feeling, I know we're talking, this is a tech podcast, but it bears in. The way I was physically feeling, I convinced myself that this is simply how you feel at 45 or 44 or 43,
Right.
whatever I was at
Right.
the time. This is how this is, right? And then T-Mobile came and they said they showed up at my store one day, and this is not criticism of T-Mobile. This is simply business. But they showed up at the store and they said, "Hey, want to let you know we're going to open a competing store, another store in town." And then we decided there is enough market demand to do this. And I was greatly offended. I was like, well, first, yeah, there's enough market demand because I created that demand. For the last 14 months, I have pivoted, and 85% of my operation had pivoted to supporting T-Mobile. Let's call it cell phone. Had pivoted to supporting cell phone company's endeavors. And the way the finances worked, we were only paid for activation of lines. So we were spending 8 to 24 hours of labor. I was spending 8 to 24 hours of labor a week to support technical issues associated with a cell phone provider, not even revenue producing activities. They said and they came and they said, and I said, if you open this store a block away from me, you'll kill my business. And they said, well, that's not our intent. I said, intent is irrelevant. And this, the effect will be this. And what it did cause me to do was, and the whole moral of the story here for me is, it caused me to look at everything, everything that I was doing, the time I was doing, and it actually caused me to ask myself a question that I continue to ask myself, what is the ROI on this action? Now, by that, I don't mean I'm operating strictly on an income base. For me, the ROI answer can be emotional. This podcast doesn't make us any money, but it's an emotional investment. I enjoy doing it with you, and there's a return for me. So the return of the ROI on this podcast is that emotional component and the helpful component for folks who are listening. So it's worth it, right, for me.
Right.
But it caused me to look at that. It actually caused me to look at the numbers and say, okay, 85% of my business is supporting the cell phone company. Then I looked at it and I said, no, the other 10% is software. Software is generating 10% of that revenue for me. Hardware is consuming, I think the numbers were, it was actually a loss, something over 7 to 10. I was losing 7 to 10% of the cost of the labor or cost of the repair on every repair job. Just because 5, 6, 7-year-old laptops, the margin is super thin and
Right.
and anyway, long story short, there was a loss for me. And so I was able to look at all that and say, okay, and pivot based off that. And then I stepped on a scale in March of the following year. My wife had started running a couple months before, and she would be tickled that I'm giving her this kudos here, but I hope. But she had invited me to go to the gym on one of those days she was going, and I was like, fine, I'll whatever, I'll go. And I went, and the first thing I did is I saw a scale and I stepped on it, and I stepped off of it. When I stepped back on it, I was like, this cannot be. And I realized I was the heaviest I'd ever been in my life. And I said, this has got to change, and got changed immediately. And so I pivoted. And the whole thing here is I don't have the time. I'm here to say, as a business owner and a tech kind of guy, and somebody who is a year and a half or so, year and a couple months into this pivot, you do have the time. And if you make the time, and what I did is I straight up time blocked my time. You always hear about this, right? But I realized my calendar was so open too that I wasn't allowing me to make the time. I was also telling myself stuff like, oh, I can't take that time from the kids. I gotta now. Hey girls, I'm going for last night. Hey girls, I'm going for a run. Okay, Dad. Cool. Okay. I guess that was easy, right? So, so I made the time, and in doing that, it has also helped me make more time, right? And so, pivoting to the AI stance, check this out. If you are a business owner and you are scrolling social media, like my T-shirt, I'm not old, I'm retro. You like that? Yep. So if you're a business owner and you're spending time and you're scrolling social media, or you're shotgunning marketing out there, right? And you're just like, I'll pick on real estate agents because I have a real estate license. New listing 80910, blah. Well, is that the best use of your time? And instead, if you use ChatGPT to develop a marketing avatar for the client you're trying to land, and use that to develop a marketing message, maybe the marketing message needs to be 10-minute commute to Usafa. Okay, well now you're appealing to a very segmented audience for that marketing, for that statement. And where I'm going with this is that will make your time more efficient and generate a better return. So the time that you spend drilling down in using these tech tools will free up more revenue if you apply it correctly, and it will free up more time, because then instead of worrying about and I hope I'm articulating this well, but if I'm spending 2 hours shotgunning blah marketing, that's my new tagline for my blah marketing. If you're spending 2 hours a day shotgunning blah marketing, you're actually wasting time. That's, I think, the whole moral of the story.
Well, you know, one of the ways to get back time, and I just said this yesterday to Tim, like for me, one of the best ways to get back time for me is using ChatGPT on things I'm really not good at. And we all know that is math related in some form or fashion, or analytics. So yesterday I'm working on my taxes because, we're getting to that time of the year. And I was doing some stuff on Chat GPT around data analysis because before I turn in my taxes, I want to know some things. So I put in a bunch of data from my financial information, and I just asked questions. And I sat here like this, and I was like, I cannot believe I can find out so many things so fast. Now I work on this every day, so it's not a surprise. But before I turn in my information, I actually want to know the health and wealth of my business. And that saved me so much time. Like I do this every year because I forget what I spend money on, and when you look at your numbers, you're like, oh God, I did buy that, or I did do that. Did I get an ROI on that? And it's so easy to upload data, ask questions, get answers, make decisions. Uh, it's given me back, like I spent, I don't know, an hour yesterday on it. Yes, maybe an hour yesterday, which I would have spent a day on before I turned in my information to my accountant. Because I want to know year over year how things are progressing. So I would say, in terms of getting time, you don't have time. Once you get a start on ChatGPT and you get a feel for it, use it for the thing that time sucks the most. What sucks your time the most is a great way to use ChatGPT to make it more efficient. Mine always comes down to finances. I have a marketing and communications degree. I don't have a financial degree. So for me, God, it makes me so much more efficient in knowing numbers and the ability to analyze it quickly. I don't need to be an expert. I need to know how to ask a good question. I'm very good at that. That's where you can get your time back in big chunks of time.
Yeah, yeah. So if we had to define that, we'd say it allows you to get back chunks of your time in that it facilitates maximization of that time on topics that you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Or that you, yeah. For me, it's marketing. It's a marketing message. Like I'm doing a lot of marketing and information, and in this case, what we do, information is marketing, right? And it helps me focus that communication. For me, it's a specific example of, instead of spending 2 hours a day shotgunning out information and marketing that is not going to generate a return because it's too blah, then
Right.
it has allowed me to focus in and produce content that is hyper specific in return to my time.
Yeah.
Your
Personalization is.
time that I use, time that I then use to go to the gym, right? Or spend with my kids. Yeah, it's you make the time, and if you make that time and use it, it will free up more time.
And they say that when we got started on the AI thing, they said, oh, you'll have so much time. Like one of the guys I listened to when I took this mastery course, I can't tell you his name right now, right off the bat, but he said, you will get so much more time back. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's what every sales pitch is, there's an aspect to that. But I have to say, after this long of being on ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, I do have a lot more time. And where I notice it is on the weekends. And I'm not saying I don't work on the weekends. I do. I just don't work as long. I work an hour instead of 3. Now, I work Saturday and Sundays most most of the time. But I used to spend 2 hours, 3 hours every Saturday and Sunday. And now I just sit down, I spend an hour, and I'm done. And that's where I really notice the change. Like during the week, I work pretty much the same, but on the weekends, so what is that? I get 4 hours back a week. I mean,
Oh,
that's, that's significant. That's 16 hours in a month.
it
Yeah,
is.
it is.
But folks worried about. I can just tell from both of our personal experience too. I'm not even worried about AI is taking our jobs, right? Okay, so AI has taken. You could argue AI has taken several of my potential base level jobs, right? It helps me with these marketing tasks that previously I would have done manually, right? But it's saved so much time. And it is what it's done is it's allowed me to ascend Maslow's hierarchy. I don't have to worry about the base level tasks because AI is helping with that. Now I can think
Right.
about that's something we're missing too, the criticality of having some time to think about and literally just map out some thought processes and what am I doing and why am I doing it? What is this? Just the thought process. This is a weird parallel, but I think it resonates. Something I've been thinking about a lot of time too is text messages, right? Yeah. Back in the day when you had to write a letter and um, you had to mail that letter off, and you knew it was going to take weeks or days or weeks or back in the day, months to get to your intended recipient. You had to put a lot of thought into that communication, right? You weren't going to mail a letter that just said, "Hey, how are you?" uh, and now though we have instant communication across the globe via text message, which is cool. It's a cool technology, but it also is people are demanding an instant response, and it's not allowing us time to think about our responses, and it's a reactive communication.
Totally.
So I have been thinking a lot about, and what I have taken to doing in a lot of my messages is to meet that instant demand. I'll say, hey, I message received. I need a little time to think about the response here. Or to give you a qualified quality response, and people have actually been largely receptive to that, which is kind of cool. But that's what the AI is. AI frees us up to actually put in some thought to all of this.
Definitely a time organizer and prioritizer because there's so many applications in terms of using a GPT for checklists and different organizational tools just so you can get more time back. And I think the older you get, the more valuable your time is. And you see it as the commodity that it is, because you don't want to be tied to your computer or your phone all the time. So how do you work more efficiently? And that's the whole point, is it's worth the investment because the payoff and the ROI is so great.
It is. It's liberating too. I've had a thread. We talk about this a lot, but I have a thread that I call I Rob, and it is a running thread that allows me to download all the thoughts, all the philosophy. If I hear a cool quote, I jump in there and I write that quote in there, or I talk to it and I'll say, hey, log this quote in the database. Just this morning, I pulled up the iRob framework, and I said, hey, refresh me. Refresh me on the principles of the framework that we're building in this chat thread, and it does. It's never tired. It always it says, hey, it refreshes your memory. It's a perfect assistant.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's well worth the time.
All right. So
So
announcements. We
yeah,
have our upcoming webinar workshop. Can I do that? Let me do it back. AI in Reach. There we go. And it's April 30th, starting at 12:30. We're going to have some networking. There's 4 speakers. We're going to talk about customer service. We're going to talk about sales. We're going to talk about custom instructions. We're going to talk about how to create images with AI. So it's really, it's a business and it is a workshop because you're going to bring your laptop and you're going to walk out with so many tips and tools. If you go to youraiwizards.com, you can register. If you're a BNI member, it's $29. And if you register early, it's $29. After March, I'm not sure, the end of March, it goes up to $39. So it's limited to 30 people, and I think we're third full. So if you're interested, don't wait, because this is really going to be a hands-on workshop.
All right, yep, let's do it. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, it's again. So what would what's our call to action on this one? We promised that everybody will walk away with something. What's our call to action?
Well, I would say it's time that you invest in AI, and do that before the workshop, because then you can get more out of the workshop. So download the app, invest time, come to the workshop with questions on how to improve your business, because that's what we're there for, to tap into what we've learned, to grow your business, to learn your business. So I would say the call to action is to enroll in the workshop, to get involved with ChatGPT before the workshop, come with questions to the workshop to make your business better.
Yep, that works for me. I'd add go to right now to Google, open another tab and type OpenAI ChatGPT, and click that first link, sign up for a free account, and literally ask ChatGPT, hey, Robin Joy from Shift Happens, the AI podcast, said I should log in and ask you, how do I use you? How do I use you? And tell it I have an HVAC business, or I have a business X. How can you best help me? And then remember to say please and thank you, because I believe it's sentient, and
I
it's
do too.
tracking all of that, right?
I
so
do.
So that's our call to action.
All right, then
Cool.
I will see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.